You know what they say? You can't win if you don't score. And for the 6th time this season, the Rangers didn't score. Guess what? They didn't win any of those. We've got a show for you, a post-game show after a sweep in New York. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. That man on the left deserved better. Then again, really all the Rangers starters this series deserve better than what this team was able to provide. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here, Jeff Wilson there. The Prophet's on other duties today, so we've got Tanner aboard with us. I think it's the first time I've had Tanner produce, Jeff. You've had him on the
had him with TCU
show, but
I don't know if we've had him on a
Tanner and I go way back to our Bally days, so we're old pals. It's great to have Tanner. It's great to have you. We are frustrated like you. I did see on Twitter somebody say, "Well, of course they lost. There's a post game today. Don't blame us."
That was Gallagher champ. And,
okay, Gallagher. Thank you. And don't blame us. As I always said, when people used to say, I'd come on and do those 9th inning hits and they'd, all the Rangers need is 2 more outs and you jinxed them or whatever. If I have any influence over these damn games, Jeff, if you do, we need to be getting paid a hell of a lot more money.
We do.
You see what I'm saying? Because the guys who influence these games make a lot more money than we do. And so I don't buy that we have any influence, but that said, I'm with you, Gallagher champ. I'd like them to win a damn game where we do a post. I hate losing post-game shows.
Yeah, I mean, we had a run there of 2 in a row.
That was
after the Tigers
it was a win
and the
streak.
Rockies. But we started out real well too. We
did.
So it's all evened out. Unfortunately, I think it's gone a little bit south on us. But that was just I don't even know. I can't really even put it into words. Frustrating is right, but I mean, it was kind of boring, and
yes,
the Rangers really never even threatened.
No, and so here's the good news: the Yankees had only 5 hits. The bad news is the Rangers had only 4, and of course, one of the Yankees' hits was a home run. But yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly the point, Jeff. Is that it was frustrating and very difficult to just watch, again, some of these at-bats, particularly from the guys in the bottom third of the order. Early in this game, there was just nothing coming out of there, and it just didn't seem like there was even much reason for them to go out there. No, Carlos Rodon, you have to give the pitcher credit, but you just don't want to tip your cap to the pitcher every game, Jeff.
It's true, and he threw more than 100 pitches in 6 innings, so it's not like he was just mowing them down. They worked some at bats, or else he was, the wildly effective. Then we only walked 2, but for whatever reason, it just didn't materialize, and it wasn't even like putting guys on and coming up empty. It was not getting guys on.
Right.
It was just bad offense altogether. And so, you go back to yesterday's game where they had 10 hits, 3 solo homers, came up empty, though, when chances didn't get the timely hit. That happened again Friday. Again, if you want to go back to Sunday against the Astros, they scored the 3 in the 1 inning, but Jonah Heim had a base running mistake that kind of took the starch out of an inning, and they just haven't been able to add on. So they're kind of back to where they were before Donnie Ecker was fired. So let's bring back Donnie.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do here, but hopefully they're going to get healthy in Chicago this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, again, and we'll talk more about that trip to Chicago later on in the program, and lots more, and we'll comment on your comments and so forth as we continue to go. But that's the the issue, obviously, in a nutshell, is that they're just not hitting. The starting pitchers went 5 innings allowing 3 runs, 7 innings allowing 2 runs, and 6 innings allowing 1 run. You ask your starting pitcher to give your team a chance to win. They all did.
Yeah.
They all did that, Jeff. And the Rangers, and again, as somebody already said in the chat, they were all 3 winnable games. Of course they were. I mean,
Sure.
Especially yesterday when they had the lead late. But they found out a way to lose them, and that sucks.
The rotation has I believe, probably a 2.88 ERA after today, which leads the American League. That's the stunning
still
thing.
The best.
It's still the best in the American League. They entered the week the best in baseball with a 2.83 ERA. The Mets have since snuck past them, but it's just if I'm a starting pitcher, I'm very frustrated. And it again, and we've talked about it. The offense not scoring puts the bullpen in a bad spot.
Sure,
because you've got to use leverage arms because you're playing close games. So you're using the same guys over and over again. And now you're starting to see the effects of that with Robert Garcia and Luke Jackson and Chris Martin getting worn down or injured. And this is we're at 51 games now. A third of the season, and that's a pretty big sample. And the old adage is that or not adage, but thought is that you break your season down into thirds. You're going to have a great third, a lousy third, and what do you do in the middle third? Well, if this could be the Rangers' good third.
Yeah.
It could be their lousy third. No, there's still 111 games to go.
Because again, they're 1 game under 500.
Right.
So it's most likely their middle third, right? It's just this. I mean, so there's
you hope,
possibly going to be a lousier one. Yeah, actually, you hope this is their lousy third of the season, right?
Right.
And they're only 1 game under 500, and then they have a good one and a middling one. But in any event, this third of the season can be characterized in one word, Jeff: frustrating. Right? When you see that kind of starting pitching through 51 games, and really the bullpen hasn't disappointed that often either.
Right.
You see that kind of pitching overall through 51 games, you just don't expect the team to be a game under 500.
Yeah, and the bullpen has kind of been in the crosshairs here the last few games, and
they've had their share.
You look at their overall ERA, it's around 3.9, which is 10th in the American League, which isn't great. But you look at who's giving up the runs, and you got some Gerson Garabito outings in there. You have some guys who are supposed to be giving up the runs,
right?
But you still look at the leverage guys, and for the most part, you can say that they've been pretty good and have done their job. Because again, the bullpen was the big question mark coming into the year, and then the first month of the season, they were the unsung heroes, doing the work they were doing. And Luke Jackson was not, after opening day was pitching really well. Chris Martin really well. Robert Garcia has kind of emerged as a guy that everybody likes, and he's not a free agent until 2030, I think. So some really good things. Hobie Milner's been fantastic after a miserable spring, right? So everything's feeling pretty good there. And then this last week has been pretty lousy for the bullpen. So now they're in the crosshairs. But the ultimate issue is the offense.
No doubt.
31 times in 51 games, the Rangers have scored 3 or fewer runs. That's 61%.
Yeah,
that's just
not enough.
That's Rockies territory. The Rockies have one more game like that.
I was going to say, and then if you want to go all the way down to 2 runs, the Rockies have 24 games thus far where they've scored 2 or less. The Rangers today was their 23rd. So
okay, that's what it was.
That's even worse.
That's just, and that's not the company you want to be in.
No.
Especially with a payroll that includes a $30 million guy, $26 million guy, whatever Peterson's making this year. I think it's 15.5 plus the signing bonus he got. I mean, there's a lot of money in this lineup, and they aren't producing. Now, Corey Seager's not producing because he's on the IL. Marcus Semien is not producing for whatever reason. Jock Peterson, whatever reason, Adolis Garcia, the model of inconsistency, though more of his consistencies are toward the bad side than the good side. So, what do you start to do here? Garcia was dropped to 7th today because Jake Berger had been really good.
Yeah.
Jake Berger doesn't get a hit.
No hits in the cleanup spot today.
And Josh Young has been pretty good of late. Josh Smith looks like he's scuffling maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
That at bat today.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
The one time they had a chance to score as the pinch hitter was just bad. Someone got a pitch that really went about 56 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to Andre's point, this is what they are. Maybe maybe, but right now they're not whole because they do need. Seager makes a difference. I know it's just one batter. He makes a difference. Evan Carter made a difference. He was batting below 200, but his at bats were better, and I think some guys were feeding off of that mentality. But I don't know that they're a lot better, and they're certainly not better as long as Semien and Peterson and Garcia aren't hitting. And that I don't know any other way around that one.
No, I mean here's the only way
you bench them.
The only way
you're
around
not going to do that.
You could get 2 of 3 of them back, right? I mean, give me Semien and Peterson right now, or give me Garcia and Peterson, anything, right? Right now, just you can't have 3 of them going bad.
Right. Last year the team was undone by injuries and a lack of performance. You can usually overcome one of those. This year it's straight lack of performance, so the Seager injury is not helping. But you put and they've poured a lot of resources in the offseason into the offense in the offseason with Peterson, the trade for Berger, who I think is going to be fine. I really think Berger is going to be fine. Higashioka, who's a backup catcher. Yeah. I mean, that's what he's been his whole career. He's not expected to carry the load. He is expected to be better, but he has made Jonah better.
He has.
So that has worked. But that's about it. That really is. You go back to spring training. Oh, well, the offense is going to be better because Jock Peterson, Jake Berger can hit fastballs and right-handers. Marcus Semien can't possibly have another season like that. Same thing with Adolis Garcia. Wyatt Langford's going to be better, and he has been. But Heim was supposed to be better. That's worked. Josh Young, supposed to be full season of Josh Young. That's worked. But, when you have Peterson, Semien, Garcia in some way, shape, or form in the middle of your order,
yeah, I mean,
you're done for.
Yeah, that's theoretically a leadoff guy, and then likely a 3-4 or a 4-5 hitters in the batting order, and you can't be without basically 3 of your top 5 at least expected hitters, offensive producers.
Yeah, and I mean the Rangers are wearing the results of it right now. The good news, if you want to say good news, is that the pitching has been so good. If the pitching wasn't any good, they might be with the White Sox. That's not hyperbole. They would be that bad. They're 1 game below 500, right? So to the earlier question, when do they start considering trading off regulars? They're not going to do that.
No,
I mean it's way too early.
Yeah.
And again, they're only 1 game below 500. They're only 4.5 games out in the West.
Right.
I mean, it's not like they're dreadful.
Right. They're not the White Sox. We're saying they could be.
But they're right there. They really are. And they just need something to go their way offensively, and it just isn't happening.
Speaking of the White Sox, we will talk about the series coming up in Chicago on the south side a little later on in the program. Up next, a little bit more on the pitching matchup today. It was pretty good, and maybe we should have known that the Rangers were going to lose this game based on what happened just before it. That's next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
John, when it comes to money, I'm not very good with it. Okay. I like to make it. I like to gamble a little bit.
To spend it.
I like to spend it, and saving is not my forte, and it needs to be because you
got kids, you got college.
I'm 50. I'm ready to retire, so to speak. But Monarch Money could be my savior, really, because they will help you get your personal finances under together and give you the life you want to live. You're not just out there earning, you're actually saving and being smart with your money. And it's important to track spending because you don't want to get into debt. You want to know if you can take that vacation, if you can send your kid to Harvard, or if he's got to go to Tarrant County Junior College, whatever it is.
Right.
Monarch's going to help you get straightened out. So get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DLS at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year, 50% off at monarchmoney.com.
Yeah, and do yourself a favor and smell better. Use Mando. This stuff is fantastic. Been using it on my feet in addition to those other areas. And I don't know, I don't notice a smell on my feet now when I pop the shoes off, which is like a huge improvement, right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's like Marcus Semien getting 3 hits in a game,
Oof.
right? Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Get him
here.
some Mando for his bat.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if Mando would work there. I'm loving Mando. It's a great product, and they've got various fragrances, and they really work well on all those areas. They say pits and your balls, your ball sack, and your grundle,
Taint.
and of course your feet.
Yep.
Your feet. So don't forget the feet. That's what I've been saying all week. That's my mantra of the week. Don't forget the feet. And don't forget Mando. $5 off your first purchase. Mando.com with the code Rangers. All right, so maybe, Jeff, we should have just known. It's Fleet Week in New York.
Oh, boy. The sailors are getting lucky.
Oh, the sailors are all over the city and having fun. And I'm sure you've been there, too. We've been there.
I've been there for Fleet Week.
Yeah, the Rangers have had trips there during Fleet Week. And that place is, New York's always a madhouse. But it is a madhouse during Fleet Week. And I do believe there's a bunch of, SOBs out there during Fleet Week who got onto the Army-Navy store and just get a uniform.
Well, it's a good strategy.
And it would be. It would be, yeah. Because the gals are anxious to see these sailors who they'll never see again. But in any event, so it's Fleet Week. So, and now here's a question, too, on a quick sidebar on this story. How do they decide on a daily basis, any team who's the home team, how does the team decide who catches the ceremonial first pitch? Seems like Tony Beasley catches more than his fair share.
Corey Ragsdale catches a lot, too.
Who?
Corey Ragsdale.
Yes, Corey does, too. Yeah. But again, sometimes it's players. It's generally not going to be a player who's playing in that game unless it's a significant charity or someone who's doing it that is significant to that player. But apparently, in New York, Clark Schmidt, their starting pitcher, gets that nod fairly often.
Okay.
So I suppose it wasn't that much of a surprise or that different for him to be asked today, hey, go catch the ceremonial first pitch. So he walks out there to catch the pitch. And then the surprise came. His dad, Dwight.
That's awesome.
Threw the first pitch. Yeah. He's, and of course, remember his dad, if you remember this story, his dad is a Marine. He made it to colonel in the Marines. He's been a Delta pilot for about 20 years now, and he has flown the charter 2 times.
Geez.
2 times he's, as a Delta pilot, he's flown the Yankees charter. So, it's a pretty cool story. But anyway, somehow they surprised Clark that Dwight was going to throw out the first pitch. We can't show it to you because of these dadgum MLB restrictions, but it was a good pitch, and it was a pretty cool scene. And it's one of those things where when you see it, you go, oh, crap, we're doomed. Shit, there's no way we're going to win this game,
Yeah, those things will happen. And, we wasted 2 hours watching that game.
Right, why'd we waste?
We should have just gone to the show.
We could have just taped the show.
Yeah.
Of course, we wouldn't have known the final score, although maybe we would have. We might have just guessed right. We knew that Nathan Eovaldi was going to be good, and he was.
Yeah.
Nathan Eovaldi was fantastic today, as he has been all season long. He's firmly in the Cy Young race right now, and Evo goes 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run earned, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. There you go right now. His numbers are wonderful. They're fantastic. That is what Nathan Eovaldi has been all season long. Still well under 1.75 ERA. Jeff.
Yeah, 1.60 ERA, which is remarkable. Equally remarkable is that the Rangers are 5-6 in his starts.
Right.
Despite the 1.60 ERA. And he gets it. You saw him and Jacob deGrom talking during the game, and Jacob was in there pretty close, so it might have been a more private conversation than you'd expect. But Nathan, because, and all the starting pitchers really, because they have to scout and look at video of other hitters and other teams, they pick up on trends across baseball of what other teams are doing.
Yep.
And he was really good last year at that, saying that really the Rangers had a unique approach. They weren't they weren't diving for the outside part of the plate, and the rest of the teams were, and they were taking that away. It's shifted this year. Evo said that teams aren't selling out on outside pitches, but he hasn't nailed down a trend yet on where things are. But that has gone away. So it makes you wonder, what is it that the Rangers' game plan really is and has been. I do think you still see a lot more hitters going to right field. Marcus Semien, he hit a single up the middle, I believe, today, but he made a couple outs to right field. You're seeing more balls hit that way. I think that's a Brett Boone thing.
Sure.
Some of it might be giving the ball a little more time to travel, to pitch recognition, hitting it where it is, not chasing as much, so maybe getting some more strikes, at least some hitters. But then you still though just see these ultra aggressive guys go up there and just swing away. So, but Nathan, he walked Judge in the first, but that was it, and he had to work a little bit. He got over 100 pitches in 6 innings. It was pretty good for him to go back out for the 6th. I thought that was a big inning as far as helping the bullpen out. But it's got to be a frustrating thing for him and DeGrom, all of them who aren't getting the run support, but they're doing their jobs. And Jacob deGrom told me, because he had a long history of not getting any run support with the Mets.
Right.
He said the Mets is where he learned to not worry about what's happening at the plate. He has to go out there and give his guys a chance, and a bloop and a blast. There's that opportunity, a bloop and a blast, and you might be ahead, and you might have done your job. Not that they aren't doing their jobs. It's really hard to give up no runs. It's really, really hard to go out there and toss a shutout every ball game. But again, with their starters ERA below 2.9, the best in the American League, you can't say that the pitching isn't doing its job. And the home run is the first career home run for your beat Vivas.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you're going to get beat by the number 9 hitter. DeGrom gave up a home run last night to Cody Bellinger after going ahead 3-1. You can say, oh, you shouldn't have given up that home run. Well, you know what? The Rangers should score.
Right. Yeah.
The Rangers offense needs to do their job.
The last thing we expected was for Nathan Eovaldi to give up that home run to Vivas, who'd never hit one.
Right.
And every once in a while, and that pitch wasn't terrible. He went up and got it. It was a fairly high fastball. And the kid, just got his bat on it and got a good swing off and hit the home run. But the reality is that the pitching, as we're saying the whole time through here, deserves so much better than what it has gotten. And as we didn't say anything to each other when we watched Jacob and Nathan sort of chatting there in the dugout. But what ran through my mind is, I wonder who their mother effing, they just got to be, what are we doing here, man? And again, they know, like you say, DeGrom learned it in New York with the Mets, and they know more than anyone that there may well come a time, and we can all keep our fingers crossed that it does, there may well come a time when the Rangers' offense is carrying the load and the pitching's not getting it done, and they're having to outscore people to win games. We really thought this was a team that was completely built to outscore people. And so far this year, Jeff, I don't think they've shown us one sign that that's who they are.
Well, that's what Chris Young
thought
he had built. He thought he had built a team with these bats that were going to remedy what the Rangers were weak on last year. They addressed that. I'd see rarities in there. Who's saying, Chris? There are some people who are mad at Chris Young. Chris Young has a boss. Let's keep that in mind. I keep saying it. And rarities brings up a good point. Chris Young has to operate within a budget. If Pete Alonso, it would have been a great sign, right? Hey, Juan Soto, what a sign that would have been.
Yeah.
But Chris Young has a budget set by Ray Davis, and honestly, the Rangers have enough guys that they shouldn't be doing this.
No.
But I think what you're seeing is, it's going to come to a head at some point. The Rangers are going to have to do something with these hitters who are just killing them, and and it's a hard thing, because how do you get out of a slump? Well, you keep getting at bats and improving your timing and all this, but at the same time, you might be killing the offense, and so at some point, winning is going to have to take the forefront here.
Sure.
The Rangers, though, again, 111 games to go. If Jock Peterson and Marcus Semien flip the switch and are 300 hitters the rest of the way, this team's going to be fine.
Sure.
But there's just no sign that that's on the horizon.
There is no sign of that, and yet, like when we see Carson there, this team's just bad. I'm ready to sell at the deadline. Who's saleable, right? I mean, you're not selling Seager or Semien. They have too big of contracts. Nobody wants Jock Peterson for the money they owe him the rest of this year
and next year.
Yeah. And I mean, I suppose you could trade some of the bright spots or the young guys, but you don't want to trade Josh Young or Jonah Heim or Wyatt Langford or Evan Carter.
Right.
Nobody's saleable. This isn't a team that's going to get into sell mode. This is a team that's going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. Maybe it's not like the Mets in 23 when they had guys they could trade, like Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, because they could still be productive.
Sure.
Nobody's going to trade for a 178 hitting second baseman.
Nope.
And nobody's going to trade for a 230 hitting or 220 hitting right fielder who might run into a ball once every 10 games. It's not there. There's no selling. Maybe you could sell the pitchers, but why would you do that? If you think that it's time to pack it in and start over again in 26, you've got a great foundation in your rotation. Here's a question. I mean, if this continues for Tyler Mahle, how hard do you go after him?
Right.
Because he's a free agent after the year.
Sure.
Everybody was thinking, oh, well, Mahle and Gray will go to free agency and Rocker and Leiter will step in. I want Tyler Mahle back at this point.
Well, I do too.
Yeah. So there are a lot of questions, but the biggest thing is fixing what you have now. You can't go remake the team at this point. You can't fire the hitting coach again or the manager. Nope. It's not going to make a difference.
No, and
it's up to the players at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Mahle, do we have that tweet, Tanner? That come through? Yeah, we've got this tweet. I like this here. Look at this. Right now, you got Nathan Eovaldi and Tyler Mahle with the, as we said, Eovaldi's well under 1.75. He's at 1.60, but under a 1.75 ERA and under a sub-1 whip. And they're the first two pitchers to do it at this point in the season. Jeff, since 1944. It's the second time it's happened in the live ball era.
Well, who can forget about Ed Huser and Bucky Walters?
Yeah, I think it was Ed Hard Hit Huser and Bucky Bubblegum Walters back then. Everybody had a kick-ass nickname in those days. What do you say, Bubblegum?
That's right.
And
that Reds team finished. I just looked it up. Finished third in the National League.
Did they? Yeah.
But that was pre-division. So
okay,
but 89 and 65. Even that was before the 162.
Wow.
Too,
yeah,
so.
That's right. Maybe they had a bad
offense. So Bucky and Ed were good.
Yeah, they were good,
but they really needed some help from that offense.
Enough. Sorry about you, Bubblegum. All right, we got a lot more coming up as we get to this. Hope there's hope on the horizon. It's known as the Chicago White Sox. We talk about that and more as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast.
You know, it's getting to the point here, guys, where I'm working negative with the Rangers.
He's rooting against people.
My money was rooting against the Rangers a little bit today. I did sleeper, which I do every day, and I thought, well, I'll just do this game, Rangers Yankees. So what did I do? Nathan Eovaldi, less than 1.5 walks.
Good bet.
Nailed that one.
Yep.
Carlos Rodon, more than 6.5 strikeouts. Nailed that one.
That was bold, but it worked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Marcus Semien, more than 0.5 strikeouts, and I'll be darned if he didn't strike out. So I lost my $3, John. But let me tell you, I love sleeper. We were having a good time following just those little wagers upstairs, kind of laughing and chuckling a little bit about it. And that's what sleeper does for me. And again, you don't have to bet the farm. I'm betting $3 a game here, guys. Anyway, sleeper. Download the app. It's daily fantasy. And if you use the code DLLS Rangers, they will match up to $100 on your first deposit.
So looking at the Game Time app here, because I haven't heard from Nicole in a couple of days. I'm worried about her. But what's front and center? First thing on the Game Time app in Dallas-Fort Worth. And Tanner mentioned it in the chat, and I appreciate him. This is one of the things we can be hopeful about. The Stars, baby. What a third period they had last night. And you can get Stars tickets for tomorrow's game. It's at 7 o'clock. And this might sound like a lot, but I'm telling you, get your butt in that building. $200 right now. Game Time. Go there.
200, huh?
I promise you can find them for a lot more. I promise you Game Time's a great place to get them, and you won't have to pay as much, and you'll know where the seats are, and you've got guarantees. And there's so many other things on there. Rangers, Cardinals is on there. There's a lot of stuff on there. But for now, get your Stars tickets at GameTime.com. $20 off if you use the code DLLS for your first purchase. All right, so it's on to the south side of Chicago, Jeff, and we mentioned it. They have, and maybe Will Venable has dodged a bullet, and they have, in that the attention for futility and for struggles is off them. Thank you, Colorado Rockies, right?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so, and they're not great, the White Sox. I think they're better. I think Will's done a good job there, and we're rooting for him big time. But they're a long way. They're a long way from being a good team. They're not, to me, and again, especially since it's on the road and it's it's this Rangers team, but it's not an automatic sweep, right?
Yeah,
I know they need to sweep it.
Right.
They sweep it, and I think Dave and Mike were talking about on the game. You can still finish 500 on the road trip, right?
Yeah.
You go 3-0 in Chicago, and look, I hope they sweep, and if they don't sweep, I hope they lose one of the first two, so we can talk about a damn winner on Sunday. But anyway, look, you do need to take 2 out of 3 from this team.
100%. There's no excuse for not leaving. This series guaranteed rate field or whatever the heck it's called without a series win. There just really aren't any excuses. I mean, maybe a case of food poisoning,
right?
That's everybody, and they have to forfeit. Maybe something like that. But you're looking at a team that again is better. They have some good young arms. They have some young talent on this team because they've traded every good player they've had for the last few years for prospects. But Mally's going to pitch the opener Friday. Then you got Leiter. Then you have the great Patrick Corbin. So I mean, this it's shaping up for a series win. It really is. You look at these poor old White Sox. I think they're 15 and something, 15 and 32 or something like that. 15 and 35, even worse than I expected. Their run differentials minus 57. So this is a chance for the bats to get healthy. And the Rangers, again, won every game against the White Sox last year when they were dreadful.
Yep.
It took a remarkable catch by Travis Jankowski to make sure that happened. But, this is a team that's just ripe for getting swept. And the Rangers need to ideally do that, but winning a series.
Yeah.
Just win a series and get things back on track.
Yeah, get back home feeling good about yourselves, and a sweep would certainly be doing that. But to your point, and we just talked about how Tyler thus far this season has been even better than old Bubblegum, whatever his last name is, and so you got that. You've got Jack Leiter coming off a game where he took a no-hitter, Jeff, into the 7th inning. I mean,
right.
He's got to be feeling really good about himself when he takes the mound in Chicago. And, so then, and Patrick Corbin, again, is that who we said was Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday's
Sunday.
Patrick Corbin. And so Patrick Corbin, I mean, did his job on Monday in New York.
100% he did.
Everybody,
I remember in the chat, people were thinking that Corbin was going to get tattooed at Yankee Stadium. He's definitely flipped the switch from last year. There's no question about it. Now, everybody is susceptible to a stinker. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not saying that one is in his future, but it's just been so good.
Yeah.
So surprisingly good.
Yes.
It's probably been a little better than league average.
Yes.
Ultimately, you know, if you put his numbers up against everybody else, it's probably better than league average, but it's not Mally, Eovaldi, DeGrom.
No.
But gosh, considering what he was expected to do, and nobody really knew how long he was going to do it, this has been pretty good. A lighter note, Leiter, not Lighther. Leiter faced the White Sox in spring training, and a lot of these guys who are going to be in the lineup this weekend were in the lineup that day at Surprise Stadium. And he ended up giving up a lot of hits early and made an adjustment. But it looks like he's turned yet another corner. Very, very good to start the year. Blister came off not good. The last two have been really good.
Yeah.
So I would expect that he's going to be in good shape this weekend.
I do too. I really expect big things out of Jack Leiter. I feel like we've seen a lot of the body language things that seem like they've improved greatly. From the beginning of this season, where he's not down on himself or mad at himself, or if he gives up one hit, it kind of derails him. That aspect of being a young pitcher appears to be gone for him. And then, I think he's got better stuff. He's worked on it. Everything he has done, he has executed. And Mike Maddox was on the pregame show today, and he said, look, it's all about execution, because Mike knows, and you know this, and so do I about Mike, the game plan's going to be there, right? Yeah. And if you can execute the game plan, we are probably going to be pretty successful. Well, the starting pitchers have been, all of them, executing the game plan. But Jack Leiter's ability to execute has been awesome so far this year. Maybe in the spring training White Sox game, Jeff, maybe he wasn't executing, right?
Right.
We know that several times last year he just wasn't making the pitches that he knew he needed to make. He's making those now. And man, I've really had fun, and it looks so much more like he is going to be the guy we thought he'd be and they thought he'd be when they drafted him. Development is not linear.
Correct.
So, they take dips and curves and twists and turns, but I'll be darned, it looks like Jack Leiter is developing into that guy.
The stuff is there, the talent, the pedigree, the families. Everybody was talking about the Boones this weekend. Well, yeah. Mark Leiter got some big outs today and on Tuesday for the Yankees. That's Jack's cousin, and his uncle is Mark Leiter, whose brother is Al, who's Jack's dad. That was the whole circle right there. So anyway, baseball the Rangers weren't when they scouted this guy and signed him or drafted him and signed him, they're talking about, I never heard some guys talk about a pitcher this way and how good he could,
right,
and how good he can be and how good the stuff is. And keep in mind, he went to college, yes, but the first year was wiped out by COVID. So then he pitched in 21. All right. So he's really only had 1 year of college experience. And then the Rangers will now quietly say that they made a mistake in putting Jack at Double-A to begin his career. They should have They should have put him at high A. That's where they ended up putting Rocker. It's where they put their more recent draft picks at high A. Let them debut at high A. Double A, it's a big difference, man. And so it didn't go well. He got frustrated. Mechanics got out of whack. They had to take him out of action. And then it's been on the upward trajectory since.
Yeah.
Great year at AAA last year. It wasn't very good in the majors, but that's okay. That happens to even the Hall of Famers have struggled their first time in the major leagues.
Sure.
But now it's going the right way, and if so, you're looking at a guy for the next 6 years of club control who's gonna win you some big ball games.
It's interesting because the first round of voting, they do sort of mock votes, if you will, on MLB.com, and the first round of voting is out for Rookie of the Year, and there's a couple pitchers who are in the top 5. They only list who made the top 5, and Jack's not, and I guess I get that, but I think he may work his way into, if he continues like this, he'll work his way into the discussion.
100% he will. I think Kumar Rocker actually had an edge on him entering the season.
Before the season, yeah.
But that has definitely flipped. And Kumar, for those wondering, I believe he has a rehab start lined up for this weekend, I believe, and that'll be the first of at least 2, maybe more than 2. But again, it's positive to see the Rangers drafting and developing pitchers, or at least attempting to. So it looks like that has happened with Jack Leiter. Things are definitely going the right way.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. The Rangers organization has been notorious, and it's just been, such a thorn in their side that they've been unable to develop pitchers. But they're developing a couple right now. And just because Kumar Rocker has had some setbacks, both physically and just performance-wise, does not mean his development is not on track, Jeff. I mean, he is developing at a fine rate. Again, not unlike Leiter, considering he missed an awful lot of time between COVID, between the year he took off, between his first draft and the second one, and then an injury, a Tommy John surgery.
Right. Yeah, so if you're looking to go up to Frisco and watch him, he's going to pitch Friday night for Frisco. I wonder if he's not being rushed a little, though. The Rangers, once Gray and Bradford were hurt, that really put him Rocker in a spot where the Rangers thought he would be their best option in the rotation. He goes to Cincinnati, doesn't pitch well, comes home, pitches okay. There've been fewer of the good than the bad, and maybe the injury had something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe this time down has allowed him to clean up his mechanics and get things straightened out on, approach and how he wants to use certain pitches and stuff like that. But a little time at AAA wouldn't hurt him. Because look, the 5 starters right now, no one deserves to lose their rotation spot.
No.
And so what are you going to do? The Rangers' depth is still a little thin in the starting category.
Yeah, if one of those guys gets hurt.
If one of those guys gets hurt, and it's still going to be a little bit longer until Bradford and Gray are ready to go. So you really kind of need a depth piece at this point. Dunning's down there. I think Adrian Hauser's no longer with the team. He's with the White Sox. And so, it's not as deep as they had planned, and because of the Gray and Bradford injuries, and that's why Rocker was in the rotation. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had some AAA time ahead of him.
Sure. Yeah, let's see what happens there. You got a chance to watch him at AA this Friday, and when he was there last year, it was a fun watch. So check him out on Friday, because he was dominant in Frisco for a couple of games last year. More coming up as we are obviously well into 2025. So we're a quarter of the way through the century. So we've got a quarter of century team. All MLB, quarter of the century team coming next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And Jeff's merch isn't visible, so we'll talk about
I am wearing
mine.
it, though.
Got it. I almost wore the Hello Win column today.
This is
hopeful, wishful thinking.
Yeah, I had the same thought, too.
That's baseball time in Texas.
This is baseball time in Texas.
Yeah. I almost wore Hello Win column, wishful thinking. Maybe I should have. Maybe that would have given him good mojo. But then I would have wanted to get more money out of the deal, right?
Yeah.
I want that big paycheck if my shirt matters. You get one of these shirts like this, just like this one, for free if you become like the shirt says, a diehard. You also get access to all of the things that Jeff writes behind the paywall, all of the things that Sam's writing these days about these glorious Dallas Stars and this awesome run they're on, all the things that our Cowboys guys, Clarence Hill and Joseph Hoyt, write, and everything that Tim Cato is writing about what a turnaround this offseason has been for the Dallas Mavericks. Become a diehard today. I think you'll really appreciate it. Yeah,
you will, and like John mentioned, you get a free shirt. So what, you'll appreciate the heck out of these beauties. Store.allcitynetwork.com. You don't have to pick a Ranger shirt. You can pick a Cowboys or a Stars shirt or a Mavs or one of our college shirts. The Wings shirt, our Wings podcast is debuting here at 4 o'clock once we're off the air and out of the way. So a lot happening here and at store.allcitynetwork.com. The thing I like about them, besides their high quality and comfort and all that stuff, is that it's a unique way to show your fandom. And as the Stars fans know, their Finnish Mafia shirt for all those Finns out there is like one of the best-selling shirts in all city history. So and that's a heck of a way to show your fandom right there. So store.allcitynetwork.com and pick out your merch today.
Yeah, and so obviously that Wing show is something that Jeff mentioned is new. Our first one, it debuts today, and there's a page and so forth for the Wings at our website now. So we're very happy to have that. We're also pleased to announce, because you all are a part of this, we have 25,000 subscribers, probably more by now. 25,000, baby. We crossed that threshold yesterday, Jeff. Yesterday.
Yeah, our YouTube presence is immense.
It is.
And getting immenser, if that's a word.
Immensier.
And that's the cool thing. It's free. That one's free.
That subscription is free and worth every penny. I'll tell you that right now. But I will say this. We're so happy that you get us, right? And you appreciate what we're doing here. We're having so much fun doing it. And each of these teams that we have are the teams, our teams here. So, KG's sitting over there, Kevin Gray from the Mavs team. We've got, and I must say this, Jeff, and we both waved at him. If you guys wondered who we waved at the cheater, also known as the Prophet.
Oh.
Who's cheating on us today, right? He's over there producing the Wings. But that's okay. We're proud of him, and that's a good opportunity for the Prophet. So, you guys got to check out the Wing show today at 4 o'clock, and I think you'll really appreciate that. Bobby's going to be a part of that. I think KG's on it too, and I don't know who all. Cast of characters.
Man.
Thousands of people.
Double duty over there.
Joining that thing. And and Tanner is awesome, mister. You're right about that. We appreciate that. And yes, and thanks for the congrats too, because we're awfully proud of what we've accomplished here thus far. And I think Bobby posted it earlier. This is just the beginning, man. I mean, we're at 25,000, and we have no intention of slowing down. And I think more and more people are discovering what we're doing through things like this Dallas Stars run to the playoffs, right? We're covering this thing like nobody else in town can, nobody else in town will. And when the Rangers make their playoff run this year, when the Rangers
woke me up.
Make their playoff run this year, by God, we'll be all over that too. That's the optimist in me. So anyway, one thing we do know is that over the years, the Rangers have given us lots of fun in those playoff runs, one of which included an all-quarter century player. Let us take a look, Tanner, at the all-quarter century team. And who's at third base, Jeff? Adrian Beltre.
I've heard of him.
I've heard of them. He's a Hall of Famer. And look at the when you think about this quarter of a century. Now, for me, and I know he did, but like I don't even think of Barry Bonds as a player in this quarter of a century, but of course he was.
Yeah,
and
he was.
And Trout, obviously, Aaron Judge.
Randy Johnson's another sneaky one there.
That one snuck up on me too.
But I mean, and it's hard to argue with the list, and
it really is. I mean, Randy Johnson might be the one because again, most of his time was in the 90s, I think, and maybe Barry. I
think his rookie card's 89. So I mean, he's
I was going to say, and I don't know off the top of my head who would I put in left field instead of Barry Bonds. Who would be my fifth? I mean, and that's a pretty amazing starting five, isn't it? That Randy Johnson's your fifth starter. Yachty as the catcher, I think is a no-brainer, and then how about Big Papi in there at DH? So pretty cool list. Awfully fun though when you have, because again, this is from, as you can tell, all of baseball.
I'm a little surprised that Ohtani's not on the team, frankly. I mean, he's won 3 MVPs this quarter of a century.
Yeah.
Who are you going to take out?
Do you take
David Ortiz out? I mean, David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame.
Out. Yeah.
But I tell you,
that's a tough one. Yeah.
I don't know. He's
Yep, I agree with that. Ohtani probably deserves a spot there. It's not. I mean, it's not like his sample size is that short now.
Right.
He had 6 years in Los Angeles, with the Angels.
Sure.
And now this
is he's won 3 MVPs.
And this is his second year with the Dodgers. So a pretty interesting list there. I always do love it though when, first of all, I mean, you and I both were blessed to have seen all those guys right in their prime. I mean, Randy Johnson, I'll never forget. Way back when you didn't see this one yet, but way back in the day, Nolan Ryan in Seattle. We were at the Kingdom, and Nolan Ryan is like sort of counseling Randy Johnson on how to harness his power and everything. And we were all kind of like, "Whoa, Nolan, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
But all those guys in there. Big Papi, my mother-in-law was from the Northeast, and she just was a Big Papi fan. We got to get her a chance to meet him late in her life. So anyway, I love lists like that, and I love that Adrian Beltre is on there, and that we got to watch him, every day. Yeah. So, pretty cool. Anyone but Altuve, Mista says, hey, honestly, Altuve's probably got a bit of a case there, but was he on that list?
Who, Altuve?
Yeah,
he was.
He was second. Anybody but Altuve.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So sorry about you, Mista. And I agree. I mean, he also had a fair amount of cheating going on there too, as we know. But yeah, fantastic. That's that list. And
so who do you replace him with? Chase Utley?
Maybe. Yeah. Altuve I could replace with Utley. 2023 Marcus Semien.
Oh man.
Yeah. And you wouldn't expect really any current Rangers, as good as they are. Jacob deGrom, is, as we've said, the best pitcher, but you're not replacing, I don't know. Could you make him fifth instead of Randy Johnson?
Well, let's make Randy Johnson a 90s player. Then yes, you put DeGrom in.
Maybe you can make DeGrom. I mean, DeGrom fits with those guys,
Yeah. He does, because Scherzer debuted in 2006.
Right.
Roy debuted. It was early 2000s. Kershaw was, what draft was he? 07 draft? Or he debuted in 2007. I can't remember. And Verlander was, as a Tigers guy. So though I'm fine with all of them. Randy Johnson's great, of course, but I thought his best years were
by far.
But he won at that point.
But he won that World Series.
Yeah, right. 01. Yeah.
In the 2000s, barely in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, we like to try and have a little fun with you, even when the game sucks, and it did. The series sucked. And it's one thing for a series to suck, but it's another for it to be So close, Jeff. I mean, that makes it worse, I think, because it's so frustrating. You're like this on every, every strikeout or every third out. Let's put it that way. Come on,
Yeah, and last night's game, once it got tied, it was like, well, I think the Rangers are in trouble here.
Yeah,
and they were, and it's definitely to the point now where it's time to make some changes. The sending Jake Berger down has produced positive results. Now you can't bring up, or you can't send down Marcus Semien.
No,
you can't send down. I believe you could send down a Dlls, though. I think he's been DFA'd, so I don't know if he would accept the assignment. But it's to the point now where it's like something has to happen. Some feelings are going to get hurt.
Yeah,
the roster is going to get redone a little bit. The bench. But who? Okay, so let's just say theoretically, Jock Peterson, you're no longer the DH. You're on the bench. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, if everybody's healthy, I suppose maybe put Josh Smith there.
Okay.
But that assumes health from everybody.
That means
else.
Seager has to be healthy.
Yeah.
At that point. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say Adolis, we're tired of it. You're done. You're on the bench. What you doing? Is Josh Smith now your right fielder? Probably not.
No, I think he's my DH because we've already put Jock Peterson on the
Jock's
damn
back
bench.
On the bench.
Oh, okay.
Or Jock's in. Adolis is the one getting benched.
Yeah. If it's just Adolis instead of Jock, I suppose you probably would. I mean, Josh Smith has earned an opportunity to play every day. Now, like you say, today's at bat didn't look very good. I think he's a little banged up.
Okay, but now look, Adolis has played his tail off
as a defender
in right field.
Yeah,
the Rangers probably I haven't looked at the defensive run save stats, but he won them a game, I think, during the last homestand with his defense. Or was it? It was the DeGrom game, the DeGrom start.
Okay,
Adolis Garcia helped to win that game with his glove. All right, so now is right field a premium defensive position? Not really, but you put a guy out there, the ball's going to find him.
Oh yeah, it always does.
So do you want to put Osuna out there?
Yeah, and that's what I know we're going to start seeing if this continues in the chat. You're going to want to see Osuna. You're going to want to see Walcott. Osuna's certainly a better option at this point, only because Walcott's so young.
Right.
I want him to develop. I want him to get more time at the minor league level. Look, I want Osuna.
He's playing shortstop.
Right. Yeah. He's
not playing right field.
Yeah, that's right. I want Osuna to get more time down there as well. But that's what we're going to start weighing.
And is that the better alternative? I think
don't know.
It may come down to the point where they say it can't be any worse.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a little bit how Evan Carter got called up in August. I mean, he got called up, and it was kind of like, Evan Carter now? And then he burst onto the scene. It was like, couldn't be any worse. And then it like, wow, it couldn't be any better.
Right. And I didn't, I just, for the guys' sakes who are struggling, I hope it doesn't get to that point because, they're good guys.
And they're trying.
It's not like they're out there, trying to make outs, but it just seems like, I would keep an eye on where Walcott ends up playing here, beginning around the All-Star break in Frisco, if not a little bit sooner. And maybe the first half. I think they play their seasons in halves, and I think once the first half is over, you might see something. I would watch that one.
Keep an eye on that one. I don't think though that you just have to be really careful. It's a very slippery slope if you start trying to rush these guys.
It is,
and get them
100%.
out of that developmental opportunity. Because I got news for you, and there's no clearer picture of this than of Kumar Rocker, who dominated AA and AAA at the end of last season and got to the big leagues. And oh man, these guys are
different. Yeah. It's
these
different.
guys are good. So anyway, those are all decisions that we'll keep our fingers crossed that the Rangers front office doesn't have to make. We have to think eventually that things will turn around offensively, if not for everybody, for somebody. Let's hope. They're in Chicago. It's a 3-game series. We are not back until Sunday when we bring you.
I'm not back until
Jeff's not back
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because Abs and I will be here Sunday to bring you a post-game show. Jeff's got a whirlwind to Oklahoma City this weekend, so that's big time.
Yeah.
Watch out for tornadoes. We'll see you on Sunday. Abs and I will be on to talk about the sweep of the Chicago White Sox.
Attaboy, John.
All right, there you go. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.